The vaccine war we witnessed last week, apart from being unedifying, underlined how misguided the federal government probably was to think they could roll out something as logistically complicated as 2 vaccines with the second phase soon after. That is not what federal governments do. They don't have any serviceability experience. It's about state governments. The feds couldn't roll out a carpet. And at least we're now seeing part admission of this. A government tender, as I mentioned to the professor, cited in the 9 newspapers today, revealed that the government is now predicting that it won't end until the month of May. That is, dealing with vulnerable people who should have the vaccine. Plus, the feds have now accepted New South Wales's offer to take on a greater role from this week. The PM agreed to that on Thursday night. And we're about to see a whole series of new hubs set up, 36 new clinics, including pavilions at Sydney's Olympic Park Showground when the Easter show is over, and probably the Sydney International Convention Centre. And this is how they do it in the US and the UK. If this week we see the Health Minister, Greg Hunt, or any other minister say, oh, everything's on track, it's not a race, we'll complete this by blah, 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 you have permission to throw something at the television. Or maybe you want to do that right now, because here he was this afternoon trying to defend the low numbers.
The supply, which determines the rollout, has come on board. Given the great, enormous global competition, the fact that we have this domestic supply is fundamental. What we're seeing is deliveries over the weekend, and by the end of this week, we'll have over 3,000 practices, Commonwealth respiratory clinics and Aboriginal controlled community health organisations delivering. And that's, to my mind, that's an extraordinary outcome, and that's what's underpinning the rollout.
You can stop throwing things now, please. It is true that with Australia CSL producing 1 million doses per week from this week, the slow jab rate will diminish as a headline, but they won't live down how slow it started. After Thursday's record 79,000 jabs, as we learnt today from Greg Hunt, 842,000 vaccinations have now been delivered since the start, which is way short, of course, of 4 million. The best solution would be that from this week, the federal health bureaucracy steps aside entirely and hands it to the states and territories. Now, we are in no rush, but if we haven't completed the vaccination of all aged care residents, their staff and the medically vulnerable by the first day of winter, as they now predict, we will be in danger of losing more lives from winter clusters. They can ill afford to entertain that prospect. We are good at rolling out national inoculation programs, but let's just get the right people doing it.